Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaylee, and on this channel I cover things like true crime, travel, lifestyle, and just generalized vlogs. But today you have stumbled across the true crime section of the channel. Now I just want to give a warning, true crime videos and true crime cases are most certainly not suitable for everybody. And if you think that the contents of today's video may upset or offend you, then please jump to another video. I'm sure there'll be something here on the channel that you will enjoy. Now that I've got the formal welcome and warning out of the way, I just want to say hello to my true crime viewers. I know it's been a hot minute since I have uploaded a video, and I'm sure my video before this one will have explained everything. I will definitely put up a tell-all as to why I had a pretty decent break from true crime videos. I will link that here for you if you want to go over and head that up or watch that, or it's in the playlist, the true crime playlist. But I just want to say I am back. Thank you so much for the overwhelming support to return to true crime. I get so passionate about cases that like there just needs to be more awareness about the happenings of cases and the outcomes and the preventative measures that can come and things that we've learnt from true crime cases. So with all that on board, again, thank you so much for the overwhelming support to return. Now today's case is pretty detailed, and it's just one that might upset you. It does contain domestic violence, and poor Tara, her death was brutal and unnecessary and just absolutely heartbreaking for her family and her children. So just lots of trigger warnings for today's case. Now, with all that being said, let's jump straight into today's case. Tara Costigan was born on the 19th of August, 1986. Now, she didn't have the best start to life, and she would often live with her grandparents, Margaret and Jim, for extensive periods of time, from as early as 3 weeks old. Tara's mum, Trish, had multiple children to different fathers and wasn't able to cope with the stress of being a parent. Sadly, when Tara was just 8 years old, her father did commit suicide, and this left Tara to live with her grandparents, Margaret and Jim. Now, Margaret and Jim were fantastic grandparents and, well, basically parents to young Tara. They gave her everything in life that they could possibly give her. They loved her. They gave her a stable, healthy home. They really did everything for young Tara. At the age of just 16, Tara did become pregnant with her first son, Riley. Her second son, Drew, was born just 2 years later, and despite Tara's age, she was known to be a loving, caring, and dedicated mother. Tara made it her mission in life to ensure that her children had a much easier start to life than she did, and was trying to ensure that they had every opportunity to have a great life. Once Tara did split up with the boy's father, she put her head down and she worked extremely hard to, well, provide for her boys. She was able to get enough money to go and get herself her own apartment. She put her 2 boys into a small private school. She definitely worked her butt off to make sure that they had everything that she could possibly give them. Like, she was the most loving, caring mother that these boys could have. Throughout Tara's life, she did have contact on and off with her mum, Trish, but at the age of 18, Tara finally decided to cut all ties with Trish, and they no longer spoke. In late 2013, Tara decided it was finally time to start putting herself out there again, and she joined a couple of dating apps. Now, through one of the dating apps, this is where she met Marcus Rappel. Marcus Rappel was born on the 6th of October, 1974, which made him 12 years older than Tara. At the time, he was working as a tradie and owned his own bricklaying business. Now, Marcus also had issues as a teenager, and in 1993, at the age of 18, he did attempt suicide by overdose. And then later on, at the age of 33, he was diagnosed with manic depression. It wasn't long before Marcus and Tara started to officially date. Now, when he was introduced to the rest of Tara's family, he was never rude or threatening to them, but there was just something about his presence and about his aura that the family just didn't think clicked, and they didn't think, it wasn't just right. There was just something about him that they didn't like. But he was never rude or threatening, so they just let the relationship continue without sort of voicing their opinions. Later on, though, this feeling that the family felt was definitely backed up by Marcus's co-workers, who claimed that Marcus was extremely violent. He had anger issues, he was arrogant and aggressive, and he had a deep disrespect for women. Now, during their relationship, Marcus started to take steroids and methamphetamines. Now, because of this, Tara started to recluse herself from her family. She didn't want them to know what was happening. She didn't want them to see any of this about Marcus, and she was slowly sort of slipping away and having less and less contact with her family. But when Tara found out that she was pregnant with her third child, a beautiful baby girl, she was over the moon. And it was at this point that her sister Ricky decides to move in with Tara and Marcus just to help her out with the kids and making sure that everything was running smoothly for her third pregnancy. Now, this wasn't Marcus's first child that he was now expecting, though. He did have a daughter from a previous relationship, but initially Marcus refused to take any responsibility for his daughter until she was about a year old, and then he agreed to start co-parenting with his ex-partner. Ricky's sister also reported after the tragic event that whilst living with Marcus and Tara, Marcus would often threaten Tara and would go on just rampages of yelling and screaming and even spitting at Tara. In one occasion, he cracked his knuckles and said to Tara that if she didn't shut up, it would be the last thing she ever did. Just a week before Tara was due to give birth, she discovered that Marcus had been cheating on her with his ex-partner. Now, this was one of many final straws for Tara. The fact that Marcus was also becoming aggressive and possessive of her, everything escalated to a point where Tara had had enough, and she decided to end the relationship and kick him out of the house. But Marcus continued to verbally harass, would often call her, would send her text messages, yelling and screaming at her, just horrendous, nasty things. On the day that Tara gave birth to her beautiful baby girl, Ayla, Marcus did arrive at the hospital, but he came in yelling and screaming and claimed that the child wasn't his and that Tara had been cheating on him and he knew all about it. He only stayed at the hospital for about 10 minutes before leaving. On the 27th of February 2015, just 6 days after Ayla had been born, Tara requested a DVO, or a domestic violence order, placed against Marcus. She thought that this was ultimately going to help in keeping her and her family safe. But unfortunately, when it was served on Marcus the very next day, it caused him to snap and ultimately became one of the key factors in Tara losing her life. On the day that Marcus had been served the DVO order, which was the 28th of February 2015, he proceeded to go and purchase an axe. He then went to Tara's home and drove back and forth out the front of her house for 45 minutes, which was captured on CCTV footage. Now, Ricky's partner was at the home, so this is why he was driving back and forth. He was too gutless to go into the home when there was somebody there who may have had a chance of defending himself. But once he left, he then proceeded to go into the home. Ricky was also home at this point in time, and she initially thought that the crashing sound that she heard was the two boys playing football outside. But she soon discovered that Marcus had broken into the home. Tara ran screaming, holding baby Ayla. Ricky tried to get her to come into her room and tried to protect her from Marcus. But it was at this point that Marcus swung the axe, hitting Tara in the back of the neck and slashing Ricky's hand. At the time of the attack, and at the time of Marcus chasing Tara through the house, she was holding on to baby Ayla. During this horrendous attack, Ricky was able to call 000, and she did start to apply pressure to Tara's wounds.
My sister's ex-boyfriend Tommy is out with an axe.
Can you please explain to me how it happened?
My sister's ex-boyfriend Tommy is out with an axe.
What injuries does she have?
She's got an axe wound on her neck.
Okay, can you describe it in more detail, please?
No, I don't. She's hardly breathing on it. Oh my God, she's gonna die. She's breathing.
But sadly, after just a few moments, Tara's life had ended. Marcus was still on the scene when police arrived, and he was instantly taken into custody. Marcus did plead guilty to the murder of Tara and for the assault on Ricky. And on February 24th, 2017, the day of his sentencing, he started to yell and scream inside the courtroom, accusing the judge of lying and being biased. He also claimed that he was the only person in the entire courtroom who was telling the truth. Ultimately, he was sentenced to 32 years and 6 months with a non-parole period of 26 years. In August of 2017, Marcus was involved in an incident in the Canberra prison that he was being housed. He was one of 4 men who brutally bashed 2 brothers who were also at the prison, and this resulted in him being moved to the Supermax prison in Goulburn and was given an additional 6 years to his sentence. Marcus will be 69 years of age before he is eligible for parole. The Tara Costigan Foundation was created and ran for a number of years, but sadly, due to a lack of funding, it has since closed down. But during its years of operation, it helped over 100 families get through the struggles of domestic violence. Tara's young boys, Riley and Drew, now live with their father, and baby Isla lives with one of Tara's aunts. This was a very brutal case to jump straight back into for the true crime segment here on YouTube. This monster of a man, I hope he dies in prison. These are the cases where, I mean, it is undoubtedly him. There's no denying it. There's no way it wasn't him, so he can never be falsely accused. The death penalty should 100% apply to this. Why should good tax-paying people's money keep this monster alive, fed and watered in prison? I just don't understand it. And I mean, people come in probably and go, oh, it's not the taxpayer, rah, rah, it's the fam. Well, nobody should be paying a single dollar for this monster to breathe air that is suitable for others. I just don't understand. I mean, I know, I get so angry. I get so angry at these cases because it's like this animal, not even an animal, this monster is just get him off the planet. Absolutely get him off the planet. And for such a vicious, nasty attack to happen in front of 3 children, those poor children will be traumatized for life. It's absolutely heartbreaking to think that those poor, beautiful little babies were in that house watching this happen and were terrorized by this absolute monster. It makes my blood boil. And he was too gutless to go into the house when another male was there that might have had more of a chance to defend himself and defend them. Like, he was calculating the fact that he won't be able to achieve something that he wants to do, e.g. murder poor Tara, because somebody's there that might be able to stand up to him. Like, that, if that doesn't scream absolute coward, nothing will. Nothing will. I'd like to take the time to say thank you for listening to today's case. If you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, please consider doing so. I do bring out a new true crime case every single week. So I will see you next week for another true crime case. I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!